What needs to happen to make the milestone or the deadline? Exactly. How are they going to do their work together so that it's injury-free, it's quality, it's profitable to everyone involved, right? And that they're going to reach that milestone together, right? So that's the question that when you are doing a pull plan, you want to boil it down very simply to say, how are we all going to get to that milestone together? And the emphasis on we all, right? Because it has to be done injury-free, it has to be done on time, has to have the quality, and it has to allow everybody to be successful, profitable, efficient, effective. Okay? So, how do we decide to do the pull plan and when? We basically look at the milestone strip chart. Again, that came from the baseline contract.
This is, let's call it the estimated portion of construction, what we need to meet. The bottom portion of the line is what's actual, and you're just constantly measuring estimated versus actual.
We say, hey, we have a milestone coming up here. We better do a phase pull plan, okay? So the milestone strip chart helps us inform that. We're going to show you some trips. Who needs to be there? We already talked about that already, right? The right people have to be at that phase milestone. So it's important when you're defining the phase that you're going to do a pull plan on, you understand the work. If you're erecting steel, do you want the painter at your pull plan? If you're erecting steel, likely not, right? You want to have just the people that are involved in that phase of the work. If you're doing mass excavation and grading, definitely you have to have the grader there, right? You have to have the excavator, underground utility people, right? Who are other people that might need to be in a pull plan if you're doing, the opening up of the job site? Utilities, thank you. You should have your utility company, right? Your fencing contractor might be a good person with respect to coordinating all that action, right? You may have the customer with respect to their specific needs if it's an existing site, because they want to make sure the patients can still get into the emergency room or the students can still get in the classroom, right? So again, our process is you write down the milestone and you write down what's the scope of work that happens in that milestone, and that list helps you invite the right people, okay? So we say all the stakeholders. How does the team need to prepare? Okay, they need to know the work, and that's one of the challenges that we're having with a lot of our trades. They often don't have a person who knows the work other than their estimator. They may not know the work other than their project manager, right? So somehow we have to, again, our whole goal, think about this, is to be more reliable. And so who should be in that room? The foreman that's going to run the work ought to be in the pull plan, just like Mike was saying. I want the people that are going to do the work in the room. But how often do we have contracts that the trade has not even assigned a foreman for that job? They're still finishing another job over on the other side of the town, right? So they need to have all their supplies in hand. We have a checklist for that. You need to clearly understand the batch of work and the flow that the work is going to happen. Are we going clockwise? Are we going counterclockwise? Are we working north to south, south to north? That has to be figured out ahead of time, right? And Turner often puts the first cut at that strategy, that flow, right? But as soon as possible, we ought to get input from the trades with respect to, hey, are we going, the mechanical guy wants to go from the central plant out to the branch, right? They always want to work from the big pieces to the little pieces. So are we working in a way that's going to help the trades be successful? Have we figured out where the trash is going to be taken out? Where material is coming in? All of that has to be a part of our discussion as far as getting ready or being well prepared. And then what makes a good phase planning session? Again, having a good environment, having the right people in the room, having lots of visuals. We're going to talk about that. Having your post-it notes and your supplies, your Sharpies. all of that. And then what we say is that as a standard, a phase pull planning session should not last more than 2 hours, 3 hours at the most. Again, a lot of times we may be having people that are wearing the tools and we're asking them to come into a meeting to do a pull plan, and you don't want them there all day. If I were to tell you what is the most frequent delta on pull plans at Turner, does anybody want to say what's the most frequent delta of pull plans at Turner? I saw a lot of people raise their hand that they've been doing this. No, too long and no food. Okay? A lot of times it's too long because they took too big a bite to do a phased pull plan. And we've heard this from our competitors. I'm not sure if it ever happened at Gilbane, but they tried to do a pull plan for the whole job. So you got the trade sitting in a room for a whole day. That is painful. So Gilbane doesn't do that anymore? Good. Yeah, so we suggest chunks of work that maybe 6 to 8 weeks long will help you keep your meeting to 3 hours or less. So that's a rule of thumb.